Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. Click! You can see the the mug I have chosen to use. This is not early in the morning. It's like 12:30 p.m. my time, so I'm not doing the bedhead thing this morning, or this afternoon. Piss me off and pay the consequences. I love this mug. I'm feeling very spicy today, so just so you know. So go get your mug, have a little coffee with me. Let's talk about what this week's going to look like, okay? And I'll tell you why I'm feeling a little spicy. But yeah, we're going to look at the energy report for this week. And based on natal charts, astrology, pendulum messages, which I have 5 today. I've got 5 pendulum messages from the Lead Team Collective. And they're pretty broad. There's nothing, well, actually one is not broad. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. One has to do with Trump, of course, but it'll be interesting to see what that means once we can look back on it. So yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff to look at for this upcoming week. So that'll be good. Okay. But I'll just tell you real quick, I'll probably talk about this a little bit more tomorrow during Coffee with Karen if I have the energy to do it. So the last couple of days my energy has been pretty low. But it's hard to know, I'm sure you feel this too from time to time. Like it's hard to know. Is it like a spiritual growth that I'm going through? I suspect it is. But also, is it like the physical changes that are happening for me because I'm changing the way I'm eating and all that kind of stuff? The reason I chose the piss me off and pay the consequences mug today is because like I couldn't come on earlier because like most of the time I can come on pretty early. When I wake up, we can do Coffee with Karen, with the bedheads and, have a chat. I just couldn't do it. I was just so pissed. I was just so pissed. Which is really interesting that I actually ended up watching this young woman on YouTube who was a therapist, and she's also talking about how to do quantum, like how you know you're ready to go to the next timeline, how you know you're ready to evolve, to leave old beliefs behind, is when you get really stirred up. So the thing you don't want to do when you get really stirred up, like I was feeling this morning, is you don't want to retreat from those feelings and go backwards, basically like, nope, I'm going to turn the TV back on, or I'm going to turn the TV on, I'm going to go out for ice cream, I'm going to, dull this, which is what we are trained to do, basically. Instead, so she gave like, I'll post her video in the comments below, okay? Or in the description and in the comments. It was delightful to listen to her. And basically, so she said, write them all down. And I was like, I literally was like, yes, I'm pissed about this. I'm pissed. Because I was like walking around for a couple hours just being pissed. Like I didn't realize I was pissed, but something was going on. I was really stirred up, let's just say. And then I realized, oh yeah, I'm angry about these things. So I wrote them all down, everything I was pissed about. And then, which cracks me up, the word pissed, because my grandmother hated that word. It was a big no swear word in our house. Which is funny that I find a mug that says that then. So I wrote them all down, and then she kind of takes you through a process of acknowledging, then you sit quietly with those feelings, go to your heart center. Are these, basically she's teaching you how to release those feelings, how to release that energy, how to release those old feeling or old stories you've told yourself, or you thought you knew, things you thought you knew. And then you ask yourself, oh, what is there instead? What is there instead? That type of thing. So again, really good if you're feeling kind of really uneasy right now. This was a really good process. It's one of those things where I thought, okay, I've never seen her before. She stumbled into my algorithm at the just about the right time. So how could I not pay attention to that? It's what I needed today. But I'll tell you a few things. And again, I'm going to go into more detail about this tomorrow when I'm not feeling so spicy, but just so I could think about it a little bit more. But there's a few things. I think I'm really, over the last 10 months now, can you guys believe that the election was almost a year? I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, I cannot believe the election was almost a year ago, because we didn't even start this channel until October 24th, 2024, right before the election. And then after that, it was clear that, that it would be helpful for me to be on here with other people who would be helpful for talking with the SGs and what's going on in the world. And then we just kind of continued. So, which I understand from Jennifer Lisa Vest that a lot of those who are tapped in different ways to the other side, mediums, psychics, whatever, those using, divination tools, a lot of people came online around that time. So that's kind of interesting. And last week, I had woken up 3 times in a row at 4 a.m. I'm like, what the heck? Am I a part of the 4 a.m. club now? No, I don't want to be a part of the 4 a.m. club. I mean, in that respect. But yeah, so last week, leading into this ultimate crescendo of my pissness today. I wasn't sleeping as much as I know, I wasn't sleeping as well as I normally do too. So that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So have I released it completely? Not yet, but this will help. Talking about it always helps for me. My extroverted feeler in me always helps. But okay, so I think, like I was going to say, over the last 11 months for me, the awakening of understanding how manipulated we've been has come. I've always been somewhat aware as I was growing up over the last 30 years. I've toyed with not being sucked into sitting, watching TV so much. I've toyed with getting rid of TVs, and that's just one example, because I felt like I was just sitting, it's, being entertained into a coma, but I never fully did that. I saw some of you know that I started a TV cleanse when we started our 30-day challenge on October 1st. So then I decided I wasn't going to watch TV either. I haven't been 100% on that, but pretty close. And it's not really that important. When I decided it was a football game, we decided to turn on. But I don't want to go into too much, because all I know, because if I go into too much, then I might as well just talk about it now, but I'm not quite ready to. So I'll definitely talk about it tomorrow, probably, if I'm called to, I guess. Just how much. I'll say this. I watched a video yesterday that kind of pushed me over the edge, and it was, and I won't post this one today because I do want to talk about it tomorrow. I want to get the transcript down. I want to really talk about it. It was a guy from outside of the United States who was telling us in America how we've been controlled by the machine, basically. And it was like the last piece of information I needed to really accept that that's true. And that's why I'm pissed. So, And that poor people saw it first. They just saw the machine that they were living within first. And there's reasons for that. But yeah. And I would, yeah, that's all I have to say. We'll go into detail about that. And then I did see several people talk about or show a video that Netanyahu, now it's hard to know 100% if that video was AI generated or not. Didn't look to me like it was. It was quite nuanced in how he was talking with people that I felt like if it was AI generated, it would not be quite as nuanced. But maybe you've seen it too. How he's literally saying that the war on people essentially is through social media. Well, guess who just bought TikTok? And a billionaire Israeli. And so now the people on the right, commentators on the right, are seeing that this was a play all along and it had never anything to do with China. You know how our government kept saying it has something to do with China? It had nothing to do with China. They wanted this opportunity for an Israeli, I'm not saying Jewish people, because there is a lot of talk about Israel right now online. And I want to be extremely careful that we're not equating countries with like Jewish Americans or Jewish people. We're talking about governments here. We're talking about governments. We got to stop taking it out on the people. So I don't want to see any pushback on, I have Jewish people in my family. So, and it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I have Jewish friends. It doesn't matter. It's not about them. It's the governments. So just like it's the U.S. government, not the people. So this is all, it all just is like, just saying it in our face. If that video is true, he's just like slapping it in our face. Yeah, we're taking over TikTok and we're going to control the message even more than they've been controlling it. But see, I think I'm getting more and more aware that I'm not the only one who's feeling this. I'm not the only one who is like, what the actual F has been going on for the last 30, 40, 50 years, a slow moving machine of keeping us out of shape, entertainment coma, relying on pharmaceuticals, the frickin' food companies that are absolutely ridiculous. You can't even most of the grocery store, we all know that, most of the grocery store is shit food. Just shit food. We should be demanding better than that. It's ridiculous. And it's all addictive. It's all addictive. So you have to I have to spend all my energy trying not to eat the foods that I'm addicted to, rather than doing the real things, tapping into our own power. It's just, I'm just pissed. I'm just pissed. And I know Faye will watch this. Faye, I love that. And Faye will send me an astrology report for myself. She'll be like, okay, yeah, this is what's going on, which is very helpful. In fact, I can ask Mabel as well. So, oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, isn't it? But we're all in this together. Have you guys heard of the Purple Revolution? It's kind of a small movement right now, but it is time to tap into the Purple Revolution. This is revolution energy, and we knew that. Energy reports, astrology has told us this is revolutionary energy. I had no idea months ago when we were talking about revolutionary energy that we were going to be talking purple. I thought we would be talking red or blue, but we're not. We're talking purple. It all just ding, 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 ding. And we've got these two people, two mirror souls running this on YouTube right now. And they don't have huge followings, but we're going to work on that because they're trying to organize. One woman is, and I will post their the one woman's videos below. She understands cults really well. So actually, I think her YouTube channel is Cult College. So she understands what the cult energy, not the right and the left, well, what the elites have been doing to foster this cult energy within us, which is another reason why I've just been pissed. So really, really important. You know, I feel like I'm one of those people who people years ago would have said, I can't wait till they wake up. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people. Even though I did, you know, in my opinion, vote towards something that was more for the people, I still had a huge awakening to do. And I'm, you know, I'm not there yet, but I'm just dealing with the feelings of realizing how manipulated, you know? So I guess I talked about it more than I thought I would. I just want to go into a little bit more detail tomorrow of things this one guy said. But it really basically is we live inside this machine. And Americans, he's saying to the rest of the world, don't blame the Americans. They're in mourning. That's what he said. They're in mourning right now because we are realizing. That's how I feel. We are going through a grieving process. We're going through a grieving process because we're realizing how manipulated we've been, how controlled we've been. That's exactly what's going on. And then trying to figure out, well, where do we go from here? Like, where do we go from here is the question. I mean, I feel even goofy enough that, I mean, I shop at a co-op. I buy local because I can afford to. It's more expensive. It's more expensive than going to Costco or going to Walmart. Some of you can't afford not to do that, so you find different ways, okay? When you can, choose not to shop at Walmart or even Costco, because I feel goofy, stupid, I should say, that I never really looked up like, well, I mean, it's like in general, I knew like what a co-op was. I got it like intellectually, but I never looked it up to be like, why is this beneficial? Well, it's beneficial because your money stays within your community. And I'm like, oh, and even Costco, I'm even pulling away from them because, I mean, I'll go in there for certain things, but I'll pay because I can a little bit more money for laundry detergent at the co-op than I will for Costco because that is a publicly traded company and the profits don't stay within my community. So I think, and if I'm understanding correctly, what I remember of the astrology is that our astrology right now is requiring us to take a look at where we are locally, like getting back to local communities, because we have not been doing that. We've been, especially in America, I would say, I don't know about other countries, but they always seem to be a little way more community based. But it's really, really hard balance because it's way more expensive for people, you know? So, yeah, so it's interesting. I'm like, yeah, of course I want to keep my money within the community. I don't want to give it to Costco. Even though, like, if I'm going to give it to somebody, it would be like I looked up Costco's values. Their values way more aligned than Amazon, let's say. I will be pulling away from Amazon. I've already asked my sister to look into two more independent companies for printing our journals. So just give us a little time to get that switched over. We'll see that it's going to be more expensive, but whatever. I mean, you don't have to buy the journals. You know what I mean? That's fine. I just can't, some of you have been there way longer than I have, but like this feeding the machine, like I'm done with it. I'm not going to feed the machine. You know, that's how pissed I am. They have pissed me off. And, we're just going to have to let that go because we can't look back now. I mean, I look back like overall my whole life and how I've been feeding the machine and my parents' life and how they fed the machine. And I feel bad about that. But then I come here to the spiritual side of things and say, no, you were born there for a reason. The machine was already activated before I got here. I was born in the United States for a reason because there's been thoughts of like, where the hell can I go? I want to get out of here. I don't like this place. No, you were born here for a reason. You will stay and do the work your higher self has required you to do in the space you're at rather than running away. So much easier to run away. So much easier to turn the TV on. Don't face this stuff, right? Go out for ice cream, like I said, whatever. Doesn't mean you can't do that stuff some of the time, but oh my God, you guys, turning off the TV, that is a mind fuck. I'll tell you that right now. I've been trying to make a lot of changes all at once. Now, at least the food thing for me, it's been 3 months. So that is dialed in. I've dialed that in. So I don't have that going on, thank goodness. But there's a couple other things. I guess I'm just talking about this today. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, but yeah, so I'll probably, this will be like Coffee with Karen, obviously. And I will do the energy report, but it's going to be long today. But I'll probably post the energy report separately tonight too, so people who just want to watch that. So I am trying to wean myself off of caffeinated coffee. So I do have decaf. So I tried doing that. Like all of a sudden this weekend, I was like, okay, no more caffeine, no more TV, journaling, which brings up stuff, right? I'm trying to decrease my antidepressant. I'm actually halfway there, which is amazing. But I know I can do that because of the way I'm eating. But that alone also is my brain is trying to adjust, right? And then all this awakening of realizing how I've been living within this machine, that's a lot. That's a lot of change all at once. So I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm going to probably, not try to, I'm an all or nothing kind of gal. So I try not to. So I had 2 cups of decaf this morning to get my butter in. High fat, really important. I'm reading a book, Good Fat. Is it Good Fat? It's good for women or something like that. But there's another one for girls, you guys. If you have youngins, young girls, especially, and boys, it doesn't matter. We all need good fat. No more low-fat diets. We need good fat. That's why our brains are not getting enough energy. You don't need an antidepressant. Now, some of you might, depends on, this is not medical advice, but we're missing a lot of fat. So that's all I have to say about that as a whole nother topic. So to get I put butter, no salted butter, in my coffee. So I had 2 cups of decaf, and then I was like, I didn't need it physically. Well, I might have, but I didn't have a headache or anything, but I just psychologically, I'm like, I'm going to enjoy a caffeinated cup. You could have, if I said to my husband, could you make me a cup of coffee? And he just did decaf, I would have never known the difference, So I know, but so it just feels like too much change at one time. So I think I'll, for like the next 2 weeks with TV, because I really had some huge ahas turning the TV off. Again, like I've tried doing this in the past, but over the last, 4 or 5 days. But I think I'll still allow myself at like maybe 7 p.m. for an hour or something like that, if I need it. just so I feel like, it doesn't have to be all at once. So, yeah, so that's been my morning. It's been great. It's just been great. I need my little dumpster fire, little thing that somebody sent me, my little stuffed dumpster fire. It says, I'm fine, you're fine, we're all fine. I'm fine, you're fine, we're all fine. Okay, all right. Thank you for letting me get that out. I appreciate that. I don't feel as pissed off. I did do that journaling though, and that actually really did help. I wrote down I just said, I'm pissed about this, I'm pissed about that, I'm pissed, I'm pissed, I'm pissed. So let's go Purple Revolution. In fact, in our shop, I think I am going to, because if we could all go to, let's say, the No Kings with purple hats on. Purple. Y'all know that, right? Purple. Where does purple come from? Obviously blue and red makes purple. So if we could all, I want to go, I'm going to go to St. Vinny's or Goodwill or somewhere and buy purple outfits, purple shirt for my husband, purple shirt for me. So get your purple on, you guys. Let's all go to No Kings. If you're going, no pressure. You go if you're called to go with purple on. I'm planning on going. We'll see how I feel on that day. So purple. Anyways, I think I asked my sister if we could sell hats in our store. I might do some hashtag Purple Revolution, or purple hat, we the people. Not red hat, not blue hat, purple. Isn't that great? Oh my gosh, I am so excited about that. We've got this, you guys. Purple. Enough of this left and right crap. The elites are freaking out right now. I guarantee it. They're freaking the F out because they know. They know. They know. They pushed us way too far. I mean, they could have gone on with this for a while, but they just went to the extreme. No, no more. No more. And what I'm really happy about is my understanding and listening to some people on the right is that the youth, so those who are younger, obviously younger generations, are not falling for the same old crap. So they have stuff to learn, on how to approach things or whatever, or even food is not helping them or whatever. But they're not falling for this stuff, and that's good. It makes me feel better that it's not just they're the ones that have to live here longer than those who are older. So they need to figure it out. I'm not as concerned about for me. I'm just pissed that I've been contributing to it for a long time. So we've been in a cult. All of us. All of us. All of us are probably in cults in one way or another. But Americans, we've been in a pretty big machine. That's what they call it. Huh. And it's okay. Don't feel like you have to go out and start a homestead. That's not a good solution for a lot of people. A lot of us can't just go out and start homesteads. I am not raising cattle. Sorry, just not doing it. But I can support those who do in my area or support those who grow gardens. You know what I mean? So, but don't, there is one person, there's two people leading the Purple Revolution. One of them is on the cults, understands cults. The other one is more how to build sovereignty for yourself. But he's really into homesteading, so just don't feel like if he says stuff like that, that's now what might be possible. Now, this is long-term planning. I keep thinking my sister and her kids live in Wyoming, in a pretty small town. maybe my husband and I should move, we should all be kind of living on the same property. Like, why don't we all, like, I had this idea that a whole bunch of us could buy a mansion, just buy a huge property with a pool. And then if we all had different wings to live in, I mean, why not? Or with a bunch of land, you know what I mean? So that would be a far stretch. And some of you don't have other people to do that with. So don't let that, we're all on different paths. I don't even know that is reasonable for us to move to Wyoming. That's kind of like where we live. So, you wouldn't make these huge drastic changes. But my personality likes to have things completed. So I'm like, okay, let's get all the plans in place right now instead of letting my higher self lead me. So I'm going to let my higher self lead me this time around. Okay, so thank you for joining me with Coffee with Karen. So let's start the energy report for the week. So I'm just not, instead of me re-recording this, I'm just going to welcome people. Welcome for the Ask the Spirit Guides energy report for the week. I just got done doing Coffee with Karen. If you missed that, you could watch that. That's posted earlier. And so I have pendulum messages. I have 5 pendulum messages from the Lead Team Collective, which is made up of all of our spirit teams. And they gave me some messages of what they wanted me to incorporate into the energy report for the week. Okay. So the energy report is including astrology, what the astrology looks like for this coming week. So it will be October 5th through the 11th, 2025. The natal charts of Trump, Heritage Foundation, World, USA. Our natal chart for the community is wrapped in current trends, things that have been trending on YouTube or on social media, and events, things that have happened is all a part of this report and the pendulum messages. Okay. So before we get started, I won't hold you hostage though to know what the pendulum messages are. We do have 5 of them. I'm going to go over them pretty quick, and then you'll hear how they're wrapped into how they make sense with the astrology and the natal charts and all that. Okay. So these won't be, there's nothing earth shattering in these messages. If you've been in the community for a while, you'll be like, okay, yeah, they're continuing the same kind of messaging. If you're new to the community, welcome. Please subscribe. That would be amazing. I do have a Start Here playlist that I'll post right here. And so in case you have questions on what we do and, what the dowsing rods are that I typically use on different sessions, we have one coming up this week with Robin Williams, you guys. It's going to be amazing. So talking with Robin Williams, and then pendulum and all that kind of stuff. So we can get messages from our spirit teams. All right. So the first pendulum message is love your neighbor. So I just got done talking about Coffee with Karen, and really I keep understanding more and more how to support my own community. I've been so big picture, like spending out there, Amazon, and it's really disappointing to me that Amazon bought Whole Foods now. I used to love Whole Foods. Our Whole Foods was quaint, smaller, what do you call that? Like, I was gonna say hippie-ish, but not hippie-ish. Just like, it just was like it was like a co-op, but now I don't know. And the employees don't really like working in there anymore. They're not very, I'm not saying they're not friendly, but they don't like their jobs as much. And so it's just, I don't know. They've ruined it. They ruined it. Damn it. Okay. Love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. That's the reminder for the week. Be not afraid. Great reminder. Be not afraid. God knows best. Good reminder. God knows best. Now, there were some actually, I didn't write them down, but when God knows best came, there was a little extra message with it. I wrote it down here, but not on so I keep all of my pendulum messages in this little book, in this bullet journal. So love your neighbors. The additional information was local focus. Okay, so get local. Be not afraid. love wins. That was the additional message. God knows best. Divine timing was the additional message. I did ask for some political predictions, okay, for the week. Specifically, I was trying to get them to give me specifics, but they don't give me very many specifics. They'll give us much more specifics with the dowsing rods than they have with these, with the pendulum. But they did say chaos, which is not surprising. Karma is balancing, okay? So for this upcoming week, chaos, karma is balancing. But they did say man down. Man down, and they were referring to Trump. So I did ask, because this would be awful. I mean, it's awful anyways. I don't want anybody to be unalived. Anybody. Because then it just becomes this, unless, I mean, who am I to say? If people need to be unalived and that was part of their soul contract to make more and more people wake up, because obviously Charlie Kirk's unaliving really made people wake up, including myself, in more ways. It's this layering of waking up, isn't it? So over the 10 months, I mean, we can't just snap out of it like that. You don't just snap out of being in a cult like that. So it's this layering of like awareness. Then you settle into that awareness and deal with it psychologically. Then you go to the next level of awareness and deal with that psychologically. So whatever, man down. I did ask, using the dowsing rods, that means that Trump would be unalived, and they said no. So I just don't really feel like having Trump be a huge martyr. It just doesn't make me too happy to think that that we would have like a Trump day. He already wants that alive, but can you imagine? There's probably not enough people who are woken up to think that we wouldn't have a day for him. I don't know. It would not be good. Did you guys see the statue that somebody put up in Washington, D.C.? It was a golden statue. You know how Trump likes gold. But it was a golden statue of Trump and Epstein dancing together. Yeah, it's been taken down, but oh my gosh, I love people so much. And I do love that Kimmel and Colbert continue to mention Epstein every day. Now, I haven't watched them in a couple of days because I was trying to give up some TV. The only thing I'm trying to watch is more spiritual stuff on YouTube. But okay, I talked about that in Coffee with Karen. Okay, so those are the pendulum messages. So let's look at the overview of the energy for October 5th through the 11th. The full moon, October 6th. We have a full moon tomorrow in Aries, and Mercury ingress into Scorpio. Not sure what that means, but for our astrology folks out here, you probably do. Mark a turning point, hidden tensions, truth-seeking, and a clash of egoic impulses will come into focus. The skies urge, so the skies are urging us, based on the astrology, introspection, yeah, been doing a lot of that, and boundary work. Okay, so boundary work, yeah. I mean, this is boundary work, even though it's a little crass, but this was the mug I used for Coffee with Karen. Pissed me off, pay the consequences. That's boundary work, right? It doesn't have to be so rude, but well, you gotta be so rude. Okay, yeah, don't tell me that singing has gotta go. Okay, so the skies urge introspection plus boundary work. We see pushback, revelations, yeah, and a deeper call to align with integrity over spectacle. Yeah, I think that was the issue for a lot of people, including me, with the Charlie Kirk Memorial. It was a spectacle. It was a spectacle. Now, did I see the whole thing? No. So I don't know for sure. But the things I did see that was inappropriate for, yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, local connection, small scale acts of service, and community care will carry more weight than grand gestures. love your neighbors, one of the pendulum messages, is divinely timed now. The pendulum warning, chaos, karma will balance, underscores that the turbulence we see in politics, media, and collective life is part of an internal balancing. So we've got to let, that oftentimes that what brings me back to center is reminding myself of the bigger picture, reminding myself that there's a lot of things going on that is not important for me to understand. Right? So I don't have control over what's been going on Earth in the last millions of years and the progress that how things have been unfolding. And neither do you, one person, one spirit. Okay? So the pendulum's warning, chaos, karma will balance, underscores the turbulence we see in politics, media, and collective life is part of an internal balancing. Inequities, lies, and abuses will likely become more exposed. So I had to do some recalibration, which is what I discussed during Coffee with Karen. I've been really, recalibrating, but it hasn't been comfortable. I've been angry because the more I see, the more that is exposed, it's coming up, and it's coming up as anger and fear, and we need to transpose that into love then. So we don't want to run from that. We don't want to sit in front of the TV all day, which is what is easy to do, because we need to feel the feels, we need to release them, and we need to let them transpire into the next. It's just raising your vibration, because the more we can release those things, the higher we can get our vibrations, right? If we're moving into the other timelines, the 3D to the 5D, whatever, you can't go to the 5D. I'm pretty convinced of it now. I'm not an expert in this, but I'm pretty convinced of it now. You can't go to the 5D if you don't heal or release the shadow stuff that's been going on, in you, collectively, all that kind of stuff. So we need to feel what we're feeling right now. Every time there's an exposure, we say, son of a gun? What the? Okay. And then draw a boundary. Like, let it, you got to see it. We've got to see it. And you know how all these people on YouTube, maybe you've seen them, the FAMO, I had to go like fuck around, FAMO videos. I don't even relish in those anymore, because I'm like, yeah, I'm FAFO as well, just being an American at this point. Now the rest of the world's like, oh, they effed around, now they're finding out. You know what I mean? That's a whole story. You'll have to go back to Coffee with Karen to understand what I was talking about. Okay, let's see. A central character being tested. Yeah, Trump is our central character. Remember, we're writing our own stories, and he is not the lead. So we have to remove him from the lead of our story. Okay? So Trump is under intensified scrutiny, both in his public behavior and inner vulnerabilities. Man down suggests a weak or faltering moment might be triggered this week. Okay. Some key dates to look at: October 6th, Mercury enters Scorpio. October 6th again, full moon in Aries. Moon begins a week in Pisces, enhancing emotional sensitivity. Enhancing, yes, emotional sensitivity, intuition. So more of like, even if we, what happens to me is I feel the emotional sensitivity, but if I can't place it, then it makes me even more anxious. So until I can make sense out of it, so that's where my intuition. So once I'm like, okay, once you can get it up and see it and not run from it, face it, then you can incorporate it and let it go, right? You can, dissolve it or whatever. So your intuition can help you do that. And boundary permeability is what the moon beginning in Pisces this week is allowing us to do. On October 5th, which is today, moon, let's see, Pisces trines, I don't know what that means, Jupiter, favorable for spiritual, creative, or compassionate outreach. Broader month, we're in the latter half of Libra sun season, under pressure to rebalance justice. That's great. Relationship and fairness, but that's why, it's bubbling up. Also relevant, Pluto in Aquarius continues its long generational work of exposing power structures and pushing for systemic reset. Yeah. I mean, if I talked during Coffee with Karen about this video going around with, that Netanyahu basically has said we're taking over TikTok at this point, which they are, to use that as social warfare. He's not even hiding it anymore. He's not even hiding it, which is amazing for us, but he's not even hiding it. So obviously they just think they can just say whatever they want and they're going to do it, So we'll see how that goes. That ain't going to happen. Get your purple hats on. All right. Natal world chart themes to watch for. Trump's chart, the pendulum message man down, is especially potent now as the full moon's tension can trigger public crisis or private unraveling in higher profiles. U.S. Project 2025. This is a week of exposures. Good. Good and not good. How many more exposures can we handle? The systemic structures being pushed under Trump's agenda may face pressure from internal contradictions, truth leaks, or resistance from institutions. Excellent. Global world chart, generational cycles in Aquarius and Pluto are nudging cracks in global control narratives. We already see in China the move to suppress negative emotions online as a top-down attempt to dictate the narrative. Yeah, we're done with this we're done. I know we are. I just know this is all part of the reset, is we are done with a handful of people thinking, trying to keep us asleep, basically, with food, drugs, all the things. Social media and the youth movement, Discord is evolving from a niche platform into a tool of youth mobilization. The examples are in Morocco and Nepal. Meanwhile, suppression of dissent, China banning negative emotional content, is rising. So we probably will start getting more and more strikes, clear cancel, not our community, hopefully not. But just keep in mind that the algorithms are going to be shifting more and more for them to try to control the messaging. So that's why we have to, part of the Purple Revolution, they're talking is we've got to get with the people that we live near, because we might not be getting the right messaging from afar. Okay? So we have to rely on each other to know the truth about things. So that's, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. Gen Z protests globally. The Asian Spring Gen Z protests, I haven't heard about that, wave continues in Nepal and Morocco as younger generations demand transparency, accountability, and digital rights. Social media and cultural trends for this coming week. Platforms are pushing AI-generated content. Keep that in mind. More image-forward formats and cross-posting gimmicks. TikTok grid for a novelty. I don't know what that is. TikTok's future in the U.S. remains under negotiation, which is not true anymore. And control over algorithmic trends become a battleground between corporate, state, and creative power. Maybe it still is a negotiation, not who owns it, but how they're going to use it. In the US, a notable share of citizens now get news via social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, meaning disinformation, narrative control, and micro-targeting are more potent than ever. So let's just be real careful about that. Politically, The Guardian flagged Trump's increasing online unpredictability, use of The Guardian flagged, The Guardian, the journal, The Guardian, flagged Trump's increasing online unpredictability, use of AI-generated content, and bizarre statements, a sign of destabilization in his media stories. Okay, so top storylines to watch for this week. Karma takes a spotlight. Truth bursts through the noise. That's good. I don't mind that. Let's see. So hidden deceptions, cover-ups, or soft corruption will come into public view. Emotionally volatile revelations are likely around the full moon. So that's tomorrow. A couple days before, a couple days after. Hidden agenda here is those in power may attempt manipulative framing, surprise, smear, or shadow narratives to contain the damage. So keep that in mind. The pendulum tie-in, chaos karma will balance. The cosmic scales are initiating checks on hidden wrongs. So it just keeps bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. We knew this, Charlie Kirk told us on the pendulum, October will be rough. And yeah, I had a rough couple days. And I had to keep reminding myself, like, okay, there's something good happening. There's something happening here. I love that song. Okay, local small acts become spiritual anchors for this week. With larger systems in flux, attention shifts to neighborhood and community level care, mutual aid, healing circles, neighbor justice projects. What can you do locally, even in your own neighborhood? Start there, but keep taking care of yourself first. You got to take care of yourself first before you can start doing things even at the local level. A hidden agenda this week under local small acts. The elite may allow small scale to distract from systemic failings. Shadow powers may co-opt local networks covertly. So I know this seems it's so, I want to say evil. I don't say evil very often. It just feels so, the manipulation, and it's so purposeful. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind, which is, I'm hoping to not have my mind blown anymore and just accept it and move on. But it just keeps, more and more stuff, right? And this is happening to everybody, you guys. This is purple now. This is happening to everybody. So we have to be we've got to love our neighbors. That's the pendulum tie-in here, because this is happening to everybody, and everybody's expressing it in different ways. Everybody is understanding it in different ways. Everybody's coping in different ways. So we just have to support each other. So love your neighbors. This is a calling, not a passive suggestion. So it's an expectation from source. Love your neighbors. Trump's pressure cooker moment this week. Whether legal, financial, health, or psychological, one or more stress points will intensify for Trump. This could manifest as a media gaffe, legal blow, or internal meltdown. So we might not see it. Could be internal. Hidden agenda. Stakeholders may attempt to destabilize him, to push forward their own agenda, or to force concession. That's interesting. Man down, pendulum message this week may be the symbolic or literal manifestation of that message. What? Again, let's hope it's not like anything that would cause, I'm not going to say even what I hope. Love will win in the end. It's just, does it have to be so chaotic? You can tell I'm just like over it. I'm over the whole thing. All right, I'll have more energy tomorrow. Collective fear and reassurance. Be not afraid. Love wins. In the midst of upheaval, there will be a powerful countercurrents of hope, spiritual resurgence, and story or images of collective resilience, which is amazing. Again, with this purple, I think I mentioned this in the energy report, not just with Coffee with Karen, but if I did just mention this Coffee with Karen, make sure you look up Purple Revolution and start getting your purple hats. I'm gonna create some to put in our shop, so people can start getting purple hats. Hopefully that say "We the People" or something like that. If you have other ideas on what you would want on a hat, can you let me know? That would be amazing. Okay, so the tie-in here to collective fear and reassurance, be not afraid, love wins. Remember, that was a pendulum message. Acts as an emotional shield and reminder of deeper energetic sovereignty. Yes, we all have freedom of choice. Even though it doesn't feel like we have choices, I usually get the most upset in my head when I feel like my choices have been taken away. Just keep reminding you do have choices. Nobody can tell you what to think, right? Nobody can tell you what to feel. Nobody can tell you what to manifest out there. Love, nobody can make you do that. Even if you're in jail, nobody can make you do that. So unless, of course, they're giving us drugs and awful food, that's what they've been trying to do. Okay, timing and patience versus impatience this week. Some will push prematurely. Others will find doors remained closed until the precise moment divine timing is active. So hidden agenda around this is those seeking quick gains may jump prematurely, only to face backlash. Patience will distinguish false from genuine momentum. Good. Pendulum tie-in, God knows best, divine timing, surrender to the pace that destiny dictates. Okay, last but not least, secondary stories that might be a little quieter but potent this week. Media narratives about AI-generated fakes, deep fakes, manipulated video content will surge. Trump's use foreshadows this. So whatever he puts out there, just assume it's media generated. Youth digital activism, Discord, alternative platforms will continue to rise as circumventive infrastructure to state control. Again, we've got some I'm always quite pleasantly surprised because it's been about 6 years now since I worked with college students. My whole life I worked with college students, if you're new to the channel. And so I always had such great perspective and understood what they were thinking about. I haven't over the last 5 or 6 years. I've lost that. So it is nice to see that. And I'm like, yeah, of course they do. They're very, very smart. Kids are very, very smart. They don't have the experience, so they need some guidance in that, but they have wisdom. They come with some wisdom, major wisdom, spiritual wisdom, more than we had when we were born. So we need to listen to children, just like children need to listen to elders. China's intensifying censorship, so I had no idea this was going on, of emotional expression online may provoke soft resistance or taboo pushback. In U.S., expansion of federal deployments to cities, Memphis, Chicago, I didn't hear Memphis so far, and D.C., under Trump's law and order narrative will remain a flashpoint. Social media platforms pivot. Features leaning into visual to short content, AI remixing, and blurred boundaries between content and commerce. Okay, continuity from recent months. The push and pull between centralized control, state and tech giants, and decentralized resistance, youth and local networks continues to intensify. The trend of trusting media via social platforms, especially among younger demographics, deepens. So they're not trusting, that's good. They're not trusting it. They're seeing it probably way before I did. aggravating battles over narrative control and algorithmic manipulation. Many cracks in Trump's leadership and credibility have been widening. This week feels like a hinge moment in that arc. That's interesting. Past calls for transparency, healing, and community rebuilding from cosmic cycles, climate, social justice persists, and community rebuilding persists. This week is not a detour, but a deepening. Some help from the 5D. So if you want to do some practice, this is where we could end this. Anchor daily with a neighbor love meditation or ritual. For example, visualize sending your presence, resources, presence, not present, not like here's a present, but your presence, resources, prayers, or protection to those in your immediate community, your building, your street. Archangel, divine ally. Call in Archangel Raphael for healing, clarity, and bridge building, especially around difficult truths or relational wounds. Think about that, relational wounds. Where are the wounds that you've had in relationships in the past? What might be coming up now? Can you be healing those? So we're working on our shadows still. Symbolic aid, a small clear crystal point or moss agate can ground the energies of truth and calm in your space. So if you have a small clear crystal point, I do. They're over there somewhere. They're back there. There's one. No? Yep, I do have a small crystal point. See that plant right in front of it? I'm pretty sure I have one. Our moss agate can ground the energies of truth and calm in your space. Carry it when you feel pulled into emotional storms. Okay, so finally, this week is a turning point. The full moon in Aries and Mercury penetrating Scorpio shine a spotlight on what's been lurking beneath. Secrets, tensions, power plays. Yet the cosmos also extends an invitation. Align your small sphere, love your neighbors, stay steady, and trust that the deeper current of justice is working even among the chaos. All right, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.